Hey guys, welcome back to the Cosmic Rose, where we do astrology, astrology 101, tarot, and spirituality. We are talking about the new moon in Pisces today, which is happening on Sunday and or Monday, depending on which side of the country and or world you're on. But February 19th, Sunday, or February 20th on Monday of February 2023 at 2:06 a.m. That is Eastern time at 1 degree and 22 minutes of Pisces. Beautiful Pisces. We are now officially in Pisces season, so happy Pisces season and happy birthday to my beautiful Pisces out there. Love you all so much. I have a deep connection with Pisces placements in general. So I love you all and happy Pisces season. Happy last season of the astrological year. We're about to come into Aries season at the end of Pisces season, of course, and we have a lot going on astrologically, and I'm super excited to jump into this new moon video with you guys. So before we go ahead and jump into it though, if you aren't already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do that and smash that like button. It really does help me and my channel out if you do. And if this does resonate for you at all, or if you want to let me know how this is playing out in your life or your chart specifically, I would love to hear that. So comment down below. But yeah, let's jump into it, guys. So first and foremost, there is two major aspects happening with this new moon in Pisces, and that is a conjunction to Saturn. It's an out of sign conjunction, but it is still a conjunction with Saturn in Aquarius at 28 degrees. So that makes it a 3-degree orb. And then we do have a trine from this new moon to the South Node in Scorpio. So there is other things going on in the sky. I am going to focus on these two particular aspects before we jump into what else is going on in the sky. But when we talk about Saturn, first of all, Saturn is nearing the end of Aquarius. It's about to ingress into Pisces. So anyone that has a Saturn in Pisces, you guys are entering into your Saturn return era. I am one of them. I'm about to go. My Saturn is, I think it's 11 or 13 degrees of Pisces. So anyone that has Saturn in Pisces, you're about to feel a huge shift in internal and external realities, but you'll definitely feel when Saturn moves into Pisces. That's pretty much a given. You'll feel it, especially the closer your Saturn is to the beginning of Pisces. But anyways, getting off topic here, but it is an out of sign conjunction, which does kind of change the flavor of it a little bit. But when we think about Saturn is restriction. Saturn is actually the traditional ruler of Aquarius though, so it's fairly comfortable in Aquarius. And then we have a new moon, which is a new beginning, so to speak. And when I was thinking about this full moon, I'm kind of getting off topic and I'm going all over the place here. My Mars and Gemini is showing. But when I was thinking about this full moon, I was thinking about how it's the last season of the astrological year, and this is kind of like the beginning of the end. This is finishing out the astrological year in preparation for a new astrological year, as well as it's kind of like a prequel, so to speak, of what Saturn in Pisces is going to bring. And I did a whole nother video on Saturn in Pisces and the Saturn return in general, so go check that out. I'll link the video down below. But it's kind of like the beginning of the end in a lot of ways for this astrological year. And that trine from the South Node, or from the new moon to the South Node, is definitely emphasizing us to take a look back at the previous astrological year and to see the lessons we've learned, what we have overcame, any shadows that we still need to work on to finish out this astrological year, and any shadows, especially dealing with Scorpio. If you have Scorpio placements in your chart, not just if you have Scorpio placements in your chart, because not everyone does, but South Node Scorpio is really about our shadows and our wounds, things we have worked through in the previous astrological year, and then going into the next one, because we're about to enter Aries season. And the nodal shift won't happen until halfway through 2023. So when they move into Aries and Libra. But anyways, back to Saturn in Aquarius and Saturn conjunct this new moon. In a lot of ways, Saturn is showing us a way to rebuild, and it's kind of like a preview, like I said, of Saturn going into Pisces. Saturn is the karmic teacher, so in a lot of ways, it's clearing out a lot of karma from Aquarius in Aquarius season. So whatever you were going through in Aquarius season, I know Aquarius season this year was kind of all over the place. There was a lot going on. We officially now have all of our planets direct, and I feel like this conjunction to Saturn in a lot of ways is showing us a new way to look at Piscean themes. And Pisces season in general is really about connecting to the ethereal and the mystical and our spiritual selves, our higher selves, our angels, our guides, God, the universe, whatever it is that you believe in. Pisces really hones in on that connection to source energy. And Saturn is kind of showing us a new way to do that with this loose conjunction or out of sign conjunction with the new moon. So, what ways can we really hone down and get more disciplined in our spiritual practices? Have we been slacking on meditation techniques, or just, slacking on meditation in general? Or have we never even tried to meditate? Or have we not been pulling tarot cards for ourselves? Whatever it is that you do for your spiritual practices or have thought about doing but haven't implemented yet, I feel like Saturn is really trying to get you to utilize your spiritual capabilities as well as your spiritual practices. So I kind of just went off on a tangent there for a second, but yeah, I definitely think it's a lot about realizing our spiritual and emotional capacity, because Pisces is a water sign and Saturn is a teacher in a lot of ways. He is about restriction, but in a lot of ways, if you really want to get like philosophical about it, there's a contradictory truth to everything. So in a lot of ways, Saturn is constriction, but he's also expansion. And now this is kind of getting a little far out there, because everyone would think in astrology, Jupiter is expansion. But if you go back to like Hermetic principles type of theory and philosophy, the point of Saturn's restriction is to in turn bring more expansion in some way, shape, or form. So if you're restricting and committing to a more disciplined spiritual practice, you are in turn expanding your consciousness and your emotional and spiritual selves, if that makes sense. Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent here today, apparently. It is a dark moon in Aquarius, so yeah. So, and then the other 5 aspects that we have going on in the sky I wanted to mention. So we do have Neptune, which is conjunct Venus. It is moving away. Venus is moving away from Neptune. So it is a rather loose conjunction. It's 24 degrees. Neptune is 24 degrees and Venus is now at 29 degrees, which is interesting. It's at the very last degree of the entire zodiac. And this is the most critical degree in the entire zodiac. So when we think about Neptune and Venus, when they're conjunct, there is a lot of illusion and confusion in regards to love and romance. It can also be a very spiritual undertone to romantic partnerships, but Neptune does rule things like illusion and confusion, and Neptune and Pisces even more so. So with Venus at 29 degrees, in a lot of ways, I feel like this is expanding our understanding of what we want and need in our one-on-one relationships, as well as romantic partnerships especially. And it's really, in a lot of ways, beginnings and endings of significant chapters in our lives with romantic partners. We do have Pluto, which is sextile to Venus too at 29. Actually, Pluto's at 29 degrees and Venus is at 29 degrees. So that is a pretty prominent energy there. And that to me is definitely major endings and beginnings of karmic contracts coming by the full moon in Virgo. And with 2 very distinct planets at very distinct degrees like that, especially with Venus at 29 degrees and Pluto at 29 degrees, Pluto's about to ingress into Aquarius and Venus is about to start its journey around the entire zodiac again. Pluto is the planet of death and transformation. So it's endings which inherently bring beginnings in our romantic partnerships specifically. Also, it could be money, because Venus does rule money. It depends how you want to look at it. So this would be a great time for manifestations involving either or, if you ask me. It is a sextile. It's not a trine, which actually is almost more beneficial in my eyes, because trines can sometimes be underutilized because they're taken for granted. Sextile is a great harmonious aspect, and it is, it's not as free-flowing as a trine, and it might not be as lovey-dovey as a trine, but it's definitely not as... I don't know what's the right word I'm looking for, but I just prefer it over the trine sometimes. So, and then next we do have Jupiter conjunct Chiron at 9 and 13 degrees of Aries, and they are coming close to their exact conjunction, which this transit is something that you can take either way, and it's really about how it's playing out in your specific natal chart. So if you have any questions about how to read this, definitely leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to, give you a short couple sentence or 2 of how you can interpret that. But the thing about the Jupiter conjunct Chiron is Jupiter expands anything and everything it touches, depending on the planet. There can be some exceptions, for a more constricting planet like Saturn or Pluto or something like that. But when we're talking about an asteroid like Chiron, a lot of times Jupiter can expand the shadow side of Chiron. And as we know, Chiron is the wounded healer. A lot of times when we look at where Chiron is in our chart, especially, this is going to be where one of our deepest wounds is. that being said, Jupiter is a benefic planet, so it has a healing element to it. You know, it's the ruler of Sagittarius, and it's learning to transform our shadows into our light. And that's really the essence of Chiron anyways. The essence of Chiron is our deepest wounds are our greatest gifts. So to me, this is a lot about understanding our own wounds so that we can bring healing, first and foremost to ourselves, with both of them being in Aries, and then to others. Because Jupiter and Chiron are coming together in a conjunction to share their knowledge that they both have with each other. And then Jupiter expands it out into the universe and spreading that healing light energy with other people. I love Chiron. I don't know, I might be a little bit biased. My Chiron is in Virgo, which a lot of astrologers will speculate that the ruler of his ruler would be in Virgo. I don't know if that has something to do with it, but I love Chiron. But I'm also very scorpionic, so I like the underdog story, more or less. But the next thing I wanted to talk about is Mercury trine Mars, and Mercury will be at 12 degrees of Aquarius, and Mars is, of course, at 15 degrees of Gemini. And, you know, Mercury in Aquarius is kind of like the mad scientist archetype. In my eyes, it's a very intellectual placement because it's ruled by Uranus, which is kind of like the higher octave of Mercury in a lot of ways. And with it making a trine over to Mars in Gemini, Mars just got out of retrograde a couple weeks ago, and he is moving rather slow, so he's a little bit aggravated, but at the same time he's ready to take action and he's moving forward now. So to me, this trine from Mercury in Aquarius over to Mars in Gemini is bringing a lot of the otherworldly messages from Pisces season and Aquarius season that we received and we're able to digest. Mercury in Aquarius is bringing those messages into an intellectual and digestible form for us to, you know, analytically analyze in our brains and move forward with a course of action. So pay attention to things. You know, downloads might come in a variety of ways, but with Mercury in Aquarius, I would say you're going to get downloads, especially mentally through the mind. And this in turn, with this trine to Mars, you will be able to strategically make a plan of action in regards to those downloads. Yeah. So moving on, the only other one I wanted to quickly mention is Uranus, which is square to Mercury. And Uranus is at 15 degrees of Taurus. And then we have, obviously, Mercury is at 12 degrees of Aquarius, like I said. And to me, you know, Uranus and Taurus is an interesting placement. I've talked about this on many other videos, but Uranus and Taurus it's at its fall position. I'm trying to think if it's its fall or if it's detriment position. It's not comfortable in Taurus either way, because Uranus is about doing things unconventionally and Taurus is about doing things conventionally. So the square is basically telling me that you don't want to fall for the preconceived notions of how you should be doing and building things for your future, Uranus and Taurus. And don't let it overtake your mind, Mercury and Aquarius. You know, you're going to be getting downloads from various sources. Like I said, a lot of your downloads and intuitive insights are going to be coming to you intellectually. So I would pay attention to your intellectual downloads as opposed to things from other sources that you might not be clear about. And definitely don't let preconceived ideas and notions of how to do things, building your specific future, get in your head and invade your mind with Mercury and Aquarius either. So just be very careful and really try to tune into your higher self. The downloads themselves might come in the form of thought, but your intuition comes from your heart. So you're going to have to tune into your heart to decipher which ones are ego-based and which ones are actually downloads from your higher self, source, spirit, God, etc. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much all I have for you for this new moon in Pisces, guys. I'm really excited. It is the last new moon of the astrological year, and we're getting ready for some big shifts in the astrology with Saturn moving into Pisces and then Pluto moving into Aquarius shortly after that. Aries season is the start of the new astrological year, and you know, I'm ready for some fire. I love Pisces season though. I'm just glad to be out of Aquarius season, and I love Aquarius, don't get me wrong, my moon's in Aquarius, but it was a little bit weird this year, I have to say. So I think I am going to start pulling some, I'll just pull like a couple tarot cards for the new moon for, you know, just general advice. So that one wanted to pop out apparently. Four of Pentacles. Interesting. I feel like this is Not getting too latched on to anything in our 3D reality. The Four of Pentacles is a card about a lot of times greediness. It is financial security, but the shadow side of the Four of Pentacles is being greedy. And I think this is spirit, especially during Pisces season. We don't want to get sucked into this 3D realm. We really want to be focusing on connecting to our higher selves and, you know, evaluating things from the past astrological year and looking at things from a different perspective with that trying to the South Node, things that we learned, things that we still need to learn, and focusing on the spiritual as opposed to the physical. So not getting caught up in money matters, or, you know, of course you have to stay aware of those types of things, but don't get sucked into them too much. Then we have the Chariot reversed. Interesting. So, you know, the Chariot is all about movement towards our destined path. And I feel like some of us are trapped in fear, especially with all the events that are going on in the world right now. You know, all this propaganda being spit out at us, and we don't know which way to go. And I think the Chariot reversed is really telling us to, once again, tap into your higher self, your angels, guides, God, etc. Focus on the downloads you're receiving so that we can turn this Chariot reversed into the upright position and move towards our destined path. The worst thing to do, especially with Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn and a new moon in Pisces, the last season of the astrological year, the worst thing you could do is stay in one place and not move towards your destined path. You really want to turn this Chariot into the upright position and move forward so we can go into the new astrological year with positive energy and enthusiasm and vitality and positivity. Most importantly, keep your vibration high. Don't let all this craziness in the world and fear, propaganda get in your head. So just stay on your path and work towards getting on the right path if you're not. So I hope this helps, guys. And if you like this video, please do like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And happy new moon in Pisces. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.